Hey, what's going on, guys? Electricans back here. Welcome back to another video. Today we got 2024-2025 NFL playoff predictions. This year will be my 4th annual NFL playoff predictions video, and yeah, we're gonna go through every game. You guys kind of know the drill. You guys have all watched these playoff predictions videos. You know, everybody kind of makes the same style, same format. So yeah, you know the drill. Go through every single game, starting with the wild card and all the way to the Super Bowl, and we'll give you my Super Bowl pick. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Alrighty, guys, we're gonna start off in the AFC. Buffalo Bills versus the Denver Broncos. So this is a pretty easy pick here. Gonna take the Buffalo Bills. 2 seed versus 7 seed. Yeah, Bills are a very, very dominant football team. Very good on offense. Josh Allen has had a phenomenal season. Top 2 in the MVP conversation for sure. Definitely no shade to the Denver Broncos, though. I think they had a phenomenal season. Bo Nix looks really good, and I think the Broncos definitely blew away everybody's expectations this year. Like, for them to finish 10-7 and find themselves in the playoffs when before the season they were projected to be one of the worst teams in the league, it's pretty impressive. But I think the Bills are just a better team, and I think it's a pretty easy pick. So going with the Bills in this game. Next matchup, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this is going to be one of those games that shows you how important momentum is in the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens right now are red hot. They're on a good win streak, while the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have lost 4 games in a row. They started 10-3 and have finished their season 10-7, dropped 4 games in a row. Not very good momentum. Meanwhile, the Ravens have just looked red freaking hot lately. So that, I think it's another pretty easy pick. I got to go with the Baltimore Ravens at home. The Ravens handled the Steelers really well a couple weeks ago in Baltimore as well. So yeah, gonna take the Ravens in that game. And in the next game, we got the Houston Texans versus the Chargers. The Houston Texans this season have been pretty disappointing to me, in my opinion. CJ Stroud didn't really improve very much this year. Defensively, the Texans have been pretty solid, but overall as a team, they finished 10-7 last year and they finished 10-7 this year. I mean, they didn't really improve much. Meanwhile, on the other end of the spectrum here, the Chargers, oh man, they are a very good football team, coached really well by Jim Harbaugh. Justin Herbert, spectacular quarterback. He only threw 3 interceptions this year. He's been a very good quarterback. Lad McConkey has been very good this season. That and the Chargers are the #1 defense in points allowed this season. Another underrated thing about their team. So yeah, once again, honestly, pretty easy pick for me. I got to take the Chargers in this game. Moving on over to the NFC. First game here, we got the Eagles versus the Packers. Now this game here for the Philadelphia Eagles low-key kind of feels like a trap game, if I'm going to be honest. I think Jalen Hurts will be back in this game. He's been out with a concussion for the past few weeks. But the Packers this season have low-key been a sneaky good team. The Green Bay Packers will give any team a run for their money. They're coming into this game on a 4-game losing streak. Just lost to the Chicago Bears yesterday. But yeah, I know the Green Bay Packers very well. They are a very sneaky good team, and this is low-key kind of a trap game for the Eagles. But I'm still going to pick the Eagles to win this game because they are the 2 seed. They do have the #1 defense in the NFL. And they've just looked really good this season. So I think they should be able to handle business and get it done against the Packers at home in Philadelphia. Moving on to the next game, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Washington Commanders. And boy, this is going to be probably the best game of the wild card in my opinion. This was the toughest pick of the entire playoffs for me. I could not decide on this game. I went back and forth multiple times. But I finally came to the conclusion I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this game. Bucs are the better run defense. The Commanders are the better pass defense. Both teams have very good offenses that have their strengths and weaknesses. But the Bucs do have a home game here in Tampa Bay, which is a big advantage. That and looking at both of these teams' schedules this season, going through all their games, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man, they are just a hard-fighting, gritty football team. Think I got to give the slight edge to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That and the Buccaneers did absolutely destroy the Commanders week 1, but it was also week 1, so that's not really the reason I'm picking them. This could definitely go either way, but I'm going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And in the final game here in the wild card, we got the Los Angeles Rams versus the Minnesota Vikings. Now, this game might actually be kind of interesting because the Rams were one of the few teams that actually beat the Vikings this season. Rams beat the Vikings 30-20 earlier in the season. But as of lately, you know, the Minnesota Vikings, of course, they're coming off the 30-9 loss yesterday against the Lions. They didn't look very good yesterday. Besides that game yesterday, the Vikings have been red hot. They've been one of the best teams in football. They're very good defensively, very good offensively. Meanwhile, the Rams have really struggled on offense to score points in these past few games. They have not looked very good. All in all, the Vikings are the better team on paper, better team statistically. They're a 14-win football team and a 5 seed. I got to take the Minnesota Vikings to win this one. All right, AFC divisional round. We got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Chargers. Honestly, guys, I mean, Chargers could definitely give them a run for their money here, but the Chiefs handle business in both their matchups this season. It's going to be an Arrowhead in January. Playoff football. Patrick Mahomes is no stranger to this. I got to take the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Chargers in this game. Then in the next game here, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. Potentially the game of the year here, man. This is going to be a very, very good football game. This was a very, very tough pick for me. Both teams are very, very good football teams. The Bills have sustained success throughout the entire season, being super dominant. The Bills have beaten the Chiefs, the Lions, they've beaten very good opponents. But at the same time, man, the Ravens are coming into the playoffs red hot. I've really liked their improvement in their pass defense over the past few weeks. And the Ravens themselves also just an offensive powerhouse team as well, man. 2 quarterbacks in this game are both the top 2 MVP candidates this season. This is going to be a very good football game, but I came down to the conclusion, I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to win this game. Like I said, man, the Baltimore Ravens are coming into the playoffs with a lot of momentum. They look like they've really kicked it into gear. They look really good. Their defense is looking good. That and the Baltimore Ravens and Bills played each other earlier in the season, and the Ravens absolutely handled business against the Bills. They beat them 35-10. Though this time it will be in Buffalo. No team is going to blow each other out in this game. This is going to be a very close game. I think I got to give the slight edge to the Ravens, though, in this one. Moving back over to the NFC, we got the Minnesota Vikings versus the Detroit Lions. Rematch from the game that just happened last night, and I think it's another pretty easy pick. I mean, the Lions are super injured on defense right now, and they still just went out there and absolutely handled business. They absolutely locked down the Vikings in the red zone. The Vikings didn't even score a touchdown yesterday, and that is with the Lions being super banged up. Lions will be at home again. Pretty easy pick. I think I'm going to take the Detroit Lions to win yet again against the Minnesota Vikings. Then in the next matchup, we got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And once again, you know, kind of an easy pick here. Philadelphia Eagles, just the better team on paper all around. Once again, the Philadelphia Eagles are the #1 defense in the league. It's going to be a very tough matchup against the Buccaneers. Though the Bucs did beat the Eagles earlier in the season, I think this time around in the playoffs, playoff atmosphere in Philadelphia, I think the Eagles will be locked in and they'll get the job done against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then moving back over to the AFC, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. A rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. Should be another great game here. Though I know the Chiefs are the Super Bowl favorites this year. They won 15 games. Boy, man, have they just seemed kind of fraudulent this season with how they've been winning some of these games, man. So much luck has gone into a lot of their wins this season. Of course, these two teams went at it week 1, and it was another one of those games where the Chiefs got really lucky, man. The Ravens had a game-tying touchdown, but his foot was 1 inch out of bounds, man. When I really look at these two teams and how they performed this season, I really think the Ravens are the better team in this matchup, man. And I think I got to take the Baltimore Ravens to advance to the Super Bowl. Then sliding back over to the NFC, we got the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Detroit Lions. This is going to be a very, very good matchup, man. You got probably the best offense in the league versus the #1 defense in the league. But I got to be honest, guys, man, it honestly wasn't really that difficult of a pick here. I think I got to take the Detroit Lions, man. I mean, with the amount of injuries the Lions have had on their defense this season and still come through and won all these games, it's been very impressive. I think last night's game against the Minnesota Vikings really solidified it for me, man. I think the Lions are going all the way this year. And here in the Super Bowl, we got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Detroit Lions in New Orleans. Now, before the season started, I made my NFL season predictions video, and This was actually my pick for the Super Bowl. I had the Ravens versus the Lions in the Super Bowl. But yeah, I think this would be a very good matchup. I think the dream matchup for the entire country would definitely be the Buffalo Bills versus the Detroit Lions. I think that would be the dream matchup for the rest of the country, and that would honestly be my preferred matchup as well. This will definitely be a very interesting matchup, but once again, guys, man, I think this is a pretty easy pick. I think I gotta go with the Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl this year, man. I mean, they have just fought through so much this season. They've been so good, so dominant. They've had so many injuries on their defense, and they just keep winning football games, man. 15-2. Their offense is very elite, though they are kind of top heavy. If they do have any injuries, that could hinder them. But, you know, they did lose David Montgomery, and it hasn't really fazed them that much. Jahmyr Gibbs and their backup running back have handled business really well. When they're fully healthy, they're also one of the best defenses in the league. So that's my pick for the Super Bowl this year. I'm taking the Detroit Lions to win the Super Bowl. Alrighty, guys. So those are my 2024-2025 NFL playoff predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this year's video. Leave a like and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.